Hello everyone, I am Rana. Welcome to Thinkr Guide. It's a community where we invite industry experts to talk about current market needs with young designers to help them evolve as a thinker leader. Today's guest is shaping how modern digital products are designed and built. Elroy is a senior UX and product designer based in Hamburg, Germany. He specializes in B2B SaaS and complex workflow tools, basically the kind of software that most people find confusing, and he makes it feel simple and logical. But design is not the only thing he cares about. Elroy has mentored over 100 UX professionals through ADPList and Designlab, helping them think beyond pretty screens and into real product strategy and career growth. We are not here to talk about plugins and shortcuts. This episode is about how AI is reshaping the entire design process from strategy to execution. Before diving in, a quick note. If you want to learn about real-world lesson on product design and building design career and more, check out Elroy YouTube channel. Link is in the description. Hello, Elroy. Welcome. I'm glad that you are here with us today.
Yeah, same here, Rana. Happy to connect with you once again. Yeah.
Nice. So to begin with our first question,
Mhm,
what was your motivation to get into
mhm,
product design?
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I've always been in tech. I've always had a thing for, tech, digital products. My very first job was as a tech blogger. I was reviewing
Oh,
gadgets, yes, writing articles about, devices and all of that. Yeah, and this was where I got really exposed, into tech, into software engineering. So it's also where I found out about it, and then I made the switch to becoming a front-end engineer. Yeah, then I did that for a while. I worked with teams, and then I figured that I enjoyed the process of, talking to users, learning about their problems, and, translating this into, digital design. Yeah. So then within that company, I made a transition to, being a designer, and that's how it's been so far. Yeah. It's almost 7 years now. Yeah.
wow. I
hmm
understand this thing because people come from various backgrounds and they
Yeah.
have that unique perspective, for the user experience.
Yeah.
So that is really nice to add,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think it's also one other interesting thing when working in the international space because you have your own perspective and understanding of how
Mm.
things work, and then you come into rooms like this, and then you're able to also contribute, yeah, based on your own experiences and insights. And this always would help to result to a more refined, product outcome. Yeah, so okay.
Nice. Nice. Okay. So moving on to our next question, which is
Mhm,
how do you see AI changing how
mhm,
designers work today?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, right now everything is just about AI. Yeah. And
Mhm.
generally, there's actually so many tools out there. Yeah, but the most important thing is that, AI is still a tool, and there's some fundamental aspects of being a designer that AI cannot replace. Yeah. So the good thing is that this allows us to, focus on what matters the most, So I see a lot of designers, even me myself, I've started, applying AI into how I work. And even, things I wasn't able to do before, I'm able to do it now. Yeah, but you know, in general, the most important thing is you're able to use your experience, then apply AI to it to even get better outcomes. So now instead of spending so many hours, doing research or analyzing research insights,
Mm.
you could just use AI, do that in like 30 minutes, 1 hour, get your results and move on to the next thing. Yeah. So
Right.
And then you can then focus on, coming with your insights, your judgment, and also being able to collaborate with other team members. So yeah, that's basically how I think now it's more of um, strategic than, just than like doing the hard work of being a designer. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with you because
Yeah.
as a designer myself, I
Hmm.
understand this thing because
Hmm.
earlier it was like I used to work as a designer, and
Yeah.
now it's like I understand how product manager thinks, the
Yeah.
researcher thinks, and
Hmm.
other roles like developers, how what
Yeah.
kind of expectations
Yeah.
they have when they work, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's like
Hmm.
opening new doors for
Hmm.
here we were
Hmm.
like part of system, and now we can see the system
Yeah.
from like aerial
Yeah.
perspective. So that
Yeah.
is like
Yeah.
that is great.
Yeah. It's actually very empowering because
Hmm.
before now, when you work on designs on Figma and then you share it with your engineers to work on, you have to design like the entire interaction, the different edge cases and all of that. But now
Mhm.
that we have AI capabilities, you could use any tool, Figma Make, Codex, Anti-Gravity, and actually code out those designs. Yeah. And then it now allows you to even work on all those extra interactions and edge cases that you want your engineers to see. Yeah. So this really helps, even not just for communication with your team members, but also being able to, you know, being able to deliver what you're very happy with. And being able to deliver the real, product that you want to achieve and the way you think about it. With AI, you can now easily think about something and create it and then share with your team, get feedback. And yeah, I think that's like the beauty of the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah.
Hmm.
So moving on to our third question, which is
Yeah.
where does AI actually help in the design process and
Yeah.
frameworks we know
Yeah.
already?
Yeah. 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 I think if I were to summarize this, it has really helped us to save time. Yeah. Because before now, okay, we have different design frameworks, but of course you have to do like a discovery. You um, identify your customers, talk to them, gather all these insights, then do series of workshops with your team to define the problem statement, to map out the edge cases and all of that. But now with AI, you could literally speed run through all of this. So something that would generally take like weeks of work, you could achieve it in
Mhm.
about a week or even less, or even in about a couple of days. Yeah. Like for example, like you've do before now you would do user interviews, but you have to
Mhm.
manually listen to the recordings and take notes. Yeah.
Right.
But now we have so many tools, like there's Phantom, there's Granola, that you can do your meetings, and then at the end you can download like the transcripts, and then with that AI can help you summarize, bring out all the key points and all the things that you're interested in. And you gather all this data, you're able to feed this data to AI, you know, feed it to AI and
Mhm.
then tell it to, help me to define my problem statement, or help me to define like user stories or edge
Mhm.
cases or possible points of UX confusion or risks that could occur, and then, or even user flows, alternate flows, or points of failure that could happen. The AI would
Mhm.
help you to pump out all of this information. Yeah.
Right.
And then even, planning your research, you could also use AI to plan your research, or things like generating things like user personas, user journey maps, even competitor analysis. You could feed it into AI, and then it goes on its own and does the competitor analysis for you, and then shares back the insights with you. Yes, yes. We could do this with like cloud co-work, or even Codex has an agent now that you could use to do things like this. So, all of this really saves you time. And again, all the results that you're gathering, you're also pumping it back into the AI and then using it to move to the next step. Like things like um, like for example, before now, after I've done like all of these interviews, all the insights, I will gather them into like cards on Miro or on Fig Jam, and then have a session with the team where we try to like prioritize and define, which features we will be working on, and then map out like effort versus impact matrix, or which feature will cost us the most resources and bring the most impact. Yeah. So most of these things you can do them now with AI. You could use AI to analyze all of these insights really fast, and then it gives you ideas, and it makes things easier because you can just share this with your team, and then it's faster for you to make a decision. Yeah, yeah. So, even things like, when before you even jump into designs, if you really want to make designs on Figma, there are tools that you could use to research like
In
similar
Figma
ideas.
AI.
Yeah, no, 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 not just Figma AI. Like for example,
Okay.
there are tools like Mobbins. I don't know if you've heard of Mobbins.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a collection of screenshots of different apps. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's also another one called Referral. So they're also a collection of screenshots. So with this, you could research user flows and user journeys, and then it could give you
Only
ideas.
with the screenshots.
So referral, they have like an MCP that you could
Okay.
connect to. Well, I think it's a paid platform. So when you pay, you have
Okay.
access to like thousands of screenshots of different apps. So when you feed
Okay.
your data to this MCP, it could help you to
Mhm.
get it will give you design ideas. So you won't have to start thinking through it on your
Ah,
own. Yes, yes. So it could give you like relevant user flows from screenshots that are close to the problem that you're trying to tackle. So imagine when you're trying to think about how you will design a product, and then you have three, four different ideas already on your face. So this makes you ideate really quickly and start making designs as faster. Yeah. So
so,
to summarize, I would say like these are ways that AI has helped even in the current design process we have now. Most importantly, you're able to save time, you're able to move fast. Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
wow. So
Yeah.
if to understand in very simply, it's
Mm.
like suppose I have to create a food app, food delivery app.
Okay. Yes,
So I
yes.
just have to put that data in. What was the name of that MCP?
So the name of the platform is Referral.
Refero. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Refero.
Referral. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
they have a paid plan, and then they also have an
Mhm.
MCP. Yeah, so
Okay.
if you're using tools like Codex or Cloud, you could just tell it
Mm-hmm.
to connect to the referral MCP, and then you give it the URL and the API key that they will give to you after you pay. So once you make that connection, your AI tool will then browse on your behalf. So because the MCP basically gives you access to all the collection of screenshots that they have. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
So if
yeah.
it's a food delivery app, they will show different kind of version of
Yeah,
food delivery app.
exactly, exactly. So if you say
Wow.
you want, yeah, so it will now give you different ideas based on
Mm-hmm.
what is already existing. Yeah. So out of this, you're now able to quick quickly make a decision on, okay, this is how I want this to be. You can now get ideas from multiple places, and yeah, things move faster that way. Yeah.
Wow. It's like AI is helping us in every step. Like after that, once
Yes,
we get that
yes.
data, then we can move
Mm,
to next step. And then there
yes.
is AI again to help
Yes,
us.
yes, yes, yes. So yeah, yeah. So basically, there are different ways that you can apply this.
Mm-hmm.
I always say that like because there's so many AI tools out there, so you can't literally start learning everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
and even from everything I've said here, you don't necessarily need to do everything. The
Mm.
most important thing is that while you're working, you could tell, okay, I'm always spending time doing this. How can I use AI to save this time? Yeah. So when you figure out your current workflows, your current processes, you could tell, okay, this is a repetitive task I have to do every single day or every single week. How can I use AI to automate this process? And then you go around,
Right.
research, find the tool, and then you apply it. So it's something that you have to just do gradually, because if you say you want to start learning every single thing for learning's sake, then you're practically wasting your time. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
So true. So I think you have already answered my fourth question, which
Oh,
is
okay.
about AI made possible in
Yeah.
the design process. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So,
maybe I can still just add a little bit to it. So, like I mentioned earlier, like it has just changed the speed of learning. So instead of spending
yeah.
time producing deliverables, you can now invest that time in more productive things, like evaluating
Mhm.
different ideas, making decisions on how things should be and how things should look,
Right.
testing what is most important. Yeah.
Right.
So you can, this rapid iteration, UI exploration, all of this, you can like bring it into your workflow and move faster. Yeah.
That's so true. So true.
Mhm.
So moving on to our fifth question, which is more specific around human empathy, which is
Mhm.
AI can identify pattern in behavior, but how do you
Mhm.
bring in the human empathy
Yeah.
needed to understand why
Yeah.
people do what they do truly?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, there's this argument that I heard, that when you visit, let's say, a restaurant, and then they have a doorman on the door, opening door and welcoming everyone that's coming in. And then you have another restaurant that just has an automatic door where there's no doorman, it's just automatic. So when you just walk in, it opens by itself, you go in and you come out. So
Right.
the difference between the two is the experience you would have. You know, for example, the
Mhm.
doorman would smile at you. The doorman can probably help you, hold your bag if you're carrying a lot of things. You know, the
Mhm.
the the doorman can do so many things, not just standing on the door and opening doors for you. But if it's an automatic
Right.
door, if you, for example, sleep when you're trying to enter the automatic door is just there looking at you. Well, for example, if there's like a doorman, when you sleep and fall, they're there to even help you, to assist you to get up and stuff like that. So bringing this into, the whole concept of working with AI, AI doesn't have that human sense of reasoning, where
Mhm.
everything most times will not always go straight. So this is where your human judgment comes in, and then you're able
Right.
to decide, okay, this is how things should flow. Yeah. So, and this is also where it's important to, for example, us as designers, it's really important to really get close to the customers to really understand
Mhm.
what their pain points are. And again, to also understand what the business needs. Yeah, because
Right.
this way, you know, if whatever results that you're getting with AI or whatever insights that you're getting, you're able to take a step back and rethink and say, okay, I think even though the AI is telling me this, I think this other step will be most important for the business. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, so in summary, speaking to users, observing them in real time, listening to what the users are
Mhm.
saying, this is really important. But real empathy would now come from combining this evidence and then with your own judgment, with your own human sense of judgment and reasoning, you will be able to understand what is most important and then avoid what is
Mhm.
unnecessary. Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, the thing you mentioned, like, I mean, to know your own judgment, I
Yeah.
totally agree with you here because
Mhm.
as a designer, if I would say more than designer as a person, if you want to understand other person,
Yes.
so rather than focusing on what they did, focus on
Mhm.
why they did.
Yeah,
When we
exactly.
starting
Yeah.
understanding that,
Hmm.
then how we know, like that empathy comes,
Yeah.
okay, they are doing
Yeah.
this thing
Exactly.
because they are going through this. So I
Mm,
think if we trying to,
mm, mm,
focusing
mm,
on those things, small things, but
mm,
our own observation, why we
mm.
like
Yeah.
something and why
Yeah.
not, and similarly,
Mm,
people around us. So I think
yeah.
that can really help us to understand customer and how they behave in a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah. So even to just to add a little thing to that. So like for example, you could analyze insights from all your research with AI. And AI will tell you, okay, this is where users are dropping off. This is where users are having problem. But it won't be able to
Mm,
tell you why it is happening. It could be like an
right.
emotional reason. It could be like a social
Mm,
reason. It could be like a cultural reason. And AI won't be
right.
able to tell you won't be able to give you that type of information in the moment. So this is where
Right.
your judgment would really be key, in how you make your decisions. Yeah.
So moving on to our next question, which is building a design system is a continuous process that grows with the product. How
Hmm.
have you used AI throughout that journey? And in your
Hmm.
experience, how much
Hmm.
time does it actually save?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, it saves a lot of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an example, the last place I worked,
Mhm,
we were building out a new design system,
mhm,
and we and the engineers were already working, so we had to be able to move fast to create the components they
mhm.
need so they can be building, so that the design system components wouldn't be like a blocker for them. Yeah. So this was when we now started experimenting with Figma, MCP, and Cloud. Yeah. So the interesting thing was that we now had a workshop, the designers and then one of the engineers, where we tried to experiment with this. On that call, we were able to, link the GitHub of the code to the Figma. We were able to make the connection. We were also able to
Mhm.
build our one component cleanly, and all
Wow.
this took about less than 30 minutes. Yeah.
Within
So
30 minutes.
yes, yes, but it just one single
That's
component.
awesome.
Was one single component. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
But it was amazing because, something that would typically take a whole lot of time, I was able
Right.
to, we were able to, create one version that was okay. And then the next step was just the developer now took it up and then just cleaned it up a bit and then published it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, so there are like many ways that, AI can be imputed, as part of the design system. Like one more example is, so while I was working also in that same team, I
Mhm.
realized that we were missing some kind of colors. There were some colors that we were missing in the color system.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
these colors are like lighter shades of gray that you could
Okay.
use in things like a disabled state or like a
Mhm.
placeholder text. Yeah,
Mm.
so I just made the proposal to our head of design, and then went ahead
Mhm.
with AI. So I just grabbed the entire Figma variable that we had and then
Mhm.
dumped it into AI and then told it to now help me to generate the extra tokens to cover for, those lighter
Wow.
shades. And then it just generated everything for me. I just brought it back into Figma and then just designed use cases of how we would use this color. So it saved me a whole lot of time because I did it in about a day. While typically I would have had to do a lot of research to like see these colors,
Mm.
pick the color, and then try to find how it was used and all of that. Yeah. So yeah, it's really, another thing is sometimes we could just forget and be doing things manually the way our brain is already used to. And then you forget that you
Right.
could actually use AI to, make things easier for you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
but on the other hand, yeah, it's yeah, this is how I've applied it. Of course, there are probably
Mhm.
other people that has applied it in different other ways, but yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So if you can tell us which AI tool you did you use to do that,
Okay.
like taking the
Okay. It's just
entire.
ChatGPT that I use. Yeah, I, the thing is, yeah, you don't really know how good these tools are until you try to use them. Yeah, so
Right.
what I did, I exported the entire variable library that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then yeah, I think, and then I also took screenshots of the color variables. I took screenshots of all of it
Okay.
and then brought
Okay.
all of this into uh, Chat GPT and then told it, okay,
Mhm.
I read that I found out that this color is missing. Can you give me ideas for,
Mm.
how we should implement this color? And it gave me like two or three ideas. I then tried them out
Mm.
and then went with the one that works best for the way we structured our tokens. Yeah. So yeah, that was it basically.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
what I was about to ask. Like, I'm sure
Mhm.
ChatGPT always give like two, three options. That is
Yeah,
always
yeah,
like
yeah,
always work.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But sometimes giving you those options can be a problem. Like um there was there was a time I was having
Mm-hmm.
some problems on my personal server. So I have a personal server where I host like my personal websites. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I was trying to debug this problem, and then when I put in the error message into ChatGPT, it gives me like two or
Okay.
three things, and I don't know which one I should follow.
Which one is right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I then found myself walking in this circle of give it the
Okay.
problem, it gives me an idea, I feed it back in, and then it's not working. I
Right.
come back again. I spent like days on this same cycle. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. So but how I tackled this, I just realized that probably I'm not using this AI in the way that I should. So what I did,
Mm.
I just told it to give me just tell me one thing to do. This is the
Mm.
problem I'm having. What is the next step I should take? I
Right.
enforce it that it should not, don't give me multiple answers, just give me one answer. What is the next best step I should take? So in this way, I was now able to track the problem and then tackle it. Yeah. Because now
Right.
it can only give me one answer and then I try it. If it doesn't work, I bring it back in and then we do the next thing. Yeah. So yeah, this is also something that people need to be watchful for because especially if it's a domain where you don't have so much of an experience, AI could tell you
Mm.
anything and then you believe it. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
This is really interesting because
Yeah.
if you, especially for younger designers, junior
Yeah.
designers who doesn't know
hmm
about these things, they can
hmm
follow anything,
hmm
whatever ChatGPT
hmm
or any AI
hmm
tool is
hmm
showing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. So moving on to our next question, which is, where has AI actually let you down in your
hmm
workflow? I think you have already given
Yeah.
ChatGPT example.
Yeah.
If you have
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
else you can please share, so or we can move on to another
Yeah.
question.
So probably just to add a little bit more something to that.
Uh-huh.
So, the thing with AI is that it gives you the answers that sound correct sometimes. Yeah. So
Mm,
if you're not grounded in that topic, you might just swallow whatever it tells you, move forward with it, and then you run into problems later. Yeah. So it's something we just have to be watchful for, and there
mm,
are things around like having this deeper context and deeper judgment that we talked about earlier.
right.
You don't trust every single thing that AI tells
Mm,
you. So especially for like, when analyzing insights and all of that, you have to have been a part of it so that you know that, okay, this is actually what happened. This information it's sharing with me is actually what happened. Yeah. And
mm,
another thing I also do sometimes is that when it gives me a result, I just tell it that this thing is bullshit. Can we check it again? And then when it checks it
mm,
again, it gives me a better answer. Or another thing I also do is that in the prompt or in whatever message that I'm feeding into the AI, I will tell it, if it is Claude, I'll tell it that ChatGPT would review this, or Claude will review this, or just tell it that another AI tool would
It's like
review your response. And then it would come, it would now, take it up a notch and give you a really good answer. Yeah, it's just something, it's just funny, but yeah, it works. Yeah.
this is you are absolutely right. If we are
Mhm.
not mindful enough to
Mhm.
understand what they are sharing with us,
Mhm.
it can like we can roam into circles.
Mhm.
It can
Mhm.
happen.
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
So moving on to our next question, which is
Mhm.
okay. Can you share your experience with a real project where
Mhm.
AI made a difference to the business outcome?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So, like the example I shared earlier about how we applied AI, into building out the
Mhm.
design system.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it saved us a lot of time, and we were able to, if I recall, we
Mm-hmm.
were able to publish the version 1 of the design system in record time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So another thing is that I've also realized that even though there's a lot of noise about AI and application of AI, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of big companies haven't really, applied it in a way that is, really bringing big impact. So I feel like AI has been even more impactful for like indie hackers, smaller businesses, smaller startups where they're able to move faster, because big companies
Mm-hmm.
have this problem of bureaucracy where they have to go through different approvals, go through
Mm-hmm.
compliance before they're able to start working with AI tools.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a couple of examples online, like
Okay.
Farm Shop. So
Okay.
this Farm Shop, they have an accounting app that they use.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the nature of their business, in a year, they receive about 7,000 invoices from their different suppliers and different customers. And all of these invoices, they have to enter it manually into their accounting software. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, so they literally were thinking of hiring someone that would just sit on their table, go through the emails, download these invoices, and then enter them manually into the accounting tool. But now this is a practical use of AI. So they now, hired and got an AI consultant that helped them to design a workflow. And then this tool now like reads through the emails, copies out the invoices, and then automatically uploads them into the accounting app. And then this has saved them a whole lot of costs. Yeah. So another interesting example that I've also seen online is um, so there's some of I've seen like these indie hackers. So so there's this thing called chargebacks where someone used their card to make a purchase, and then after a while they make a report to their bank that they no longer want to make the purchase anymore, and then they cancel it, and then they get their money back. Yeah. So some of these companies, so most times you will realize that these chargebacks are mostly fraudulent because someone can pay for your app, use it,
Mm-hmm.
and then request for a chargeback, and then they get a refund. Yeah, so
Right.
what I've seen some of these people do, they now use AI to build a tool within their software, such that when
Mm-hmm.
someone requests for a chargeback, you can, so because normally with Stripe, almost everyone uses Stripe, you can dispute the chargeback, and then they kind of review the case and then decide if you won or if the customer won. Yeah. So they now design like an internal tool whereby when a customer requests for a chargeback and then Stripe starts a dispute, this AI tool will now um, fetch all of the customer's history, everything they used, everything they
Okay.
did on the app, and then submit this as part of the dispute. And then in this way, they're able to recover money that they would have lost. Yeah. So I've seen a
Mm.
couple of, all these one-man startups, I've seen a couple of them where they've used AI in this aspect, and then they're able to recover money that they would have lost. So this is something that is really impactful. And personally, for myself, I've been able to do things that I haven't done before. Like I bought a server on my own, configured it, built my current portfolio from scratch, hosted
Wow.
it there. Yeah, and I've also built another tool, built another simple tool, internal tool that I'm using for my personal use. Yeah, so these are things that I typically won't be able to do, but because of my engineering background and I'm able to,
Yeah.
learn about, these AI tools, I'm able to also build things for myself. Yeah. So yeah, this is some of the impact in terms of outcomes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You are using your software engineering
Yeah,
skill
but
set
but
here.
to be honest, even if I didn't have that background, anyone can literally
Mhm.
do it. Yeah. The only thing is that you just have to be patient. Like for example, I mostly use I started using anti-gravity, but then I started using uh, Codex, OpenAI
Okay.
Codex. It's a part of ChatGPT. So if you're paying for ChatGPT, you also have access to
Mm.
Codex. Yeah. So it's just easy to
Wow.
tell it, oh, do this for me, and then it will do it. If there's a problem, it will tell it, oh, there's a problem about this. You could then tell it, oh,
Mhm.
explain what this problem is, like a child, and it will explain, and then you decide on the next step. So this is how it will just take you time, but yeah, you will eventually,
Right.
achieve whatever you want to do. Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
really, really nice.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to our next question, which
Mhm.
is, I think you've already answered my next
Yeah.
question, which is which companies do you think using AI?
Mhm.
Like you already
Uh,
mentioned, startup are
yeah.
using AI
Yeah.
because of cost efficient and other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah. So
can,
just to
yeah.
add to that, there's this YouTube channel called Sneak Peek, Sneak Peek
Mhm.
Design. Yeah.
Okay.
So the guy basically interviews designers in different companies on how they work. So I watch it
Okay.
from time to time because we're able to see how other designers are working in other companies, and you're also able to
Mhm.
see how they apply AI workflows into their
Hmm.
work. Yeah. So, like I
Wow.
said before, there's so many tools. I could mention like 20 different tools people are using, but in
Mhm.
the end, it just boils down to, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve?
Right.
If you try to learn
Mm.
everything, it just won't work. Yeah. So,
Mm.
like I said, just review how you work, review the things you're doing. What is
Mhm.
repetitive? What do you have? What do you always do every single day manually or every single week? And then ask yourself, okay, how can I automate this process to make it faster and easier? Yeah. So then you just learn the relevant tool you need to learn and then start working with it. Yeah.
Wow. I think you have also answered
Uh,
another question as well here, which I was about to
okay.
ask that
Okay.
many times. For
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
for young designers,
Uh-huh.
what should they
Mhm.
do? Like do's and
Mhm.
don'ts. And you already mentioned that.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
amazing conversation with you, Elroy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So I could still add to that. I can still add to that. Yeah.
yeah, sure,
So
sure.
yeah. So okay. I've mentioned that you should check what works for you and then try to automate it. Yeah. And that there's a lot of softwares out there. Another
Mm-hmm.
another thing is you have to have a plan. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
have to have a plan. If you come to Codex or Anti-Gravity or on ChatGPT and say, "Oh, I want to build an invoice app. Let's start building an invoice app," it would fail. The chances that it will fail will be really big. Yeah. So the the way that so you have to like plan every single thing you want to do from the start. So instead of just
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Build me an invoice app," you first of all brainstorm the idea. Yeah. So if you have a ChatGPT, you have Cloud, or even if it's only ChatGPT that you have, just open a chat
Mm-hmm.
and tell it, okay, I want to build an invoice app. I want it to be able to do this. What
Mm-hmm.
okay, like, what are your concerns? Is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything that should be a part of it? And then it will give you all
Right.
this information. You now read through it, okay, what do I want to keep? What do I want to drop? And then from there, you tell it to create a project plan or create an implementation plan for me to be able to build this invoice app. Yeah. Then you could even tell it to break it down into steps. It will now create a plan for you, break it down into like maybe 10, 12 steps. And then when you take this and then take it to whatever coding tool you're using, Cursor or whatever, it will now work with this plan and then go step by step. Yeah. So this is the way you're able to, build things. Yeah. Because if you say you want to just jump in and start doing, you run into a lot of problems. Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, I think lastly, we just have to be open to learning and experimenting. Yeah, because yeah, the way the design space is right now, if you're not learning about AI tools, yeah, you eventually get left behind. Yeah. So
Mm.
we just have to be open to learning things, open to experimenting. So even if you're not using it for work, you could just learn it just for your own sake,
Mm.
and who knows what that knowledge would help you with. Yeah, that would be the last words I would add. Mm,
Wow, that is so, so nice that you shared
yeah,
your experience and
yeah,
learning with us.
yeah.
I am sure that young designer, when they watch this video, they
Mhm,
will learn so many new things about
yeah,
AI and how they
yeah.
can use in their design
Mhm,
thinking process.
mhm,
Thank you
mhm,
so much,
mhm.
Elroy, for your
Yeah,
time today, and it was
yeah. Thank you
amazing
too.
conversation with you. Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you. Thank you to Rana. Thank you to Rana. I really enjoyed the conversation. Yeah.